So the Hobart campaign was just fantastic. I had a really great time. We had great weather, except for the first few days where it was 50 plus knots in the marina. That was a bit of an experience. We had typical Tassie weather where it was like sunny 1 minute, then 10 minutes later it was raining, and then sunny 10 minutes later again. It was pretty funny. But the crew were really great. I had fun getting to know everyone. I hadn't sailed under Kathy before. She's a wonderful skipper. She's prepared to teach everyone, and she loves interacting with all our clients, and so that was awesome. The Tasmanian crew, they were all just absolutely wonderful. They were very welcoming. They would help us out with transport and things like that for the Sydney crew who needed it. It was really great. The clients that we had sailing with us every day were just wonderful. They were such a wide range of people, from primary schoolers, high schoolers, young adults, all the way through to seniors. We had all sorts of different physical disabilities, intellectual disabilities, a mixture of both, mental health, being socially disadvantaged or disengaged from school, behavioural issues, just a wide mix of people, which was really great because it made every day exciting. It made every sail special. There was always some little glimmer of magic for every sail. Just seeing smiles on people's faces, seeing people turn up who are nervous, but then as soon as we get out and once they see what's going on and understanding, then they're all excited and happy and moving around the boat and that sort of thing. That's just really great. I remember one primary school girl, she turned up at the dock already crying a lot and sort of clinging to her teacher, and so I sort of paid her special attention while doing the name tags and getting everyone on board. It took me a bit of coaxing to get her to walk up the ramp onto whatever, but then I sat down on the deck right in front of her and chatted and tried to reassure her that we were off to have some fun. But then I had to go do my job in the pit on the strings to help raise the headsail, and I decided to pass the halyard rope down the line of little kids sitting on the deck, and this particular student was the one at the end, and I thought, no, I'll ask her to help. And so she sort of took the rope, and I would glance behind me every so often as we were pulling up the sail, and she was moving the rope and crying maybe just a little bit now. So I thought, maybe we can win her through, and I had to go up on the bow and do some jobs, and then before I knew it, she was up there as well and starting to smile and chat with me, and she used my camera to take lots of funny photos and videos. It was pretty cool. She was a bit of a bright spark. We talked about all sorts of things. I asked her what she'd like to be when she grew up, and she said a sailor, which I sort of laughed because I would have never guessed that when she first turned up. It turns out now that she said that she decided to be brave, and now she likes sailing. So that was really special. Another particular cool case was a young primary school girl who came on board in her wheelchair, and then partway through the sail she got out of her wheelchair and slid along the deck to steer for a while. And then when she went and got back in her chair, I sat down on the deck next to her and talked about how I use a wheelchair and how I get around the boat, and how I'm learning to do things a little bit different to everyone else, and that's okay. It doesn't matter that I'm doing things differently because I still get to sail and be a sailor. So she really enjoyed that chat. It would be nice to see her next year, hopefully, at the next Hobart campaign. She couldn't wait to get home and tell her siblings, because they had been out on boats before, and she had missed out because it wasn't accessible to her, but now she's been able to go out on boats, so that was really quite exciting. We've had some young adults. There was one with an acquired brain injury who hadn't been on a boat in almost 20 years, so he was pretty happy to get to go out sailing. There was another lady who had been a sailor and a racer for over 18 years, and she hadn't been on a sailing boat since her disabilities and injuries. So she came out in her wheelchair as well. So that was really cool, just to see people doing things that they didn't think they could do, or they were too afraid to do, or just something that wouldn't have been accessible to them otherwise. So yeah, being in Hobart with whatever, and through SWD bringing those experiences to people was just really special. My daily routine was pretty much, you know, get out of bed, have a shower, throw on my sailing gear, and then go flying down the hill, all full of energy, ready to go. I'd like to get there quite early before everyone else and sit up on the bow right at the very pointy end and just have some quiet time. The bow's a great place to do that, and that particular marina is just so peaceful at that time of morning, with the beautiful reflections of all the boats and Mount Wellington, and yeah, it was just lovely. I loved doing that every day, and then we would just go into fun and more fun with lots of sailing, and afterwards in the sort of towards late afternoon, all us crew would sit around on the deck having a cup of tea and having a chat. That was lots of fun. Then off I would go up the hill back to my apartment, where, you know, shower again, and then sit on the lounge and do all the typing for Kathy and writing stories for the SWD communications and doing all the photos and stuff like that. And then dinner and bed. Sticking to a sort of simple routine, I think, really helped me manage my fatigue. My body played well for those 2 weeks. It could have been much more difficult, but I was very lucky and managed myself really well. You know, only one trip to Hobart Hospital, so, you know, it's pretty good, right? I learnt a lot about myself as well. I was, you know, pushed out of my normal routine. I actually haven't had a 2-week break in over 14 years, which is really sad actually. So it was a bit of a shock to me. Plus, this is the first time I've travelled on my own as a person with a disability. Normally I'm, you know, travelling with friends and my riding team, so I had to, you know, work out little problems along the way, getting through the airport, doing shopping without a car, all little things like that, which you know, made me think, made me learn, and sort of challenged me to push my boundaries, which was cool. I also learnt a lot about being on whatever. I haven't sailed her a lot, so it was really good to get to know her well, and I was pretty proud of myself. By the end of the campaign, I could actually transfer from my wheelchair onto her stern on my own, as long as, you know, Ian was pulling whatever into the dock. So that was pretty cool. She's really fun to sail. She just slides through the water. The kids love it, because when you lay down on the bow, you can put your ear on the deck and hear the sound of the water. And even though we had days where the breeze was pretty light, still with just a heady, she was moving quite nicely through the water on the River Derwent. Beautiful place to sail. It's very different to Sydney Harbour. There's just, you know, views everywhere of Mount Wellington, and there's like no traffic, hardly any traffic at all. On my first sail on the River Derwent, I thought, gee, this is boring compared to Sydney Harbour, where you're always, you know, dodging other craft and looking out for ferries and all sorts of things to hit in the water. There's pretty much a channel marker and a sailing marker out there, and well, on the first day we saw a tugboat pulling a fish pen. You know, otherwise there's not really much out there, so it's sort of a different feel. Yeah, I am proud of myself for what I could achieve on this trip and what I could learn and how much fun I had. I got to the end of the campaign and didn't want to go home. So yeah, it's kind of cool when you get to the end of something and you still want more. Hobart I loved. It was a beautiful place. I would happily live there, except that it's not overly wheelchair friendly. There's hills just everywhere, and if the pathway is flat, it's then built on a slant, so you're always using one arm to wheel. And then there's a lot of old historic buildings which are beautiful, but they were not built to be accessible, so I had a few little navigational issues along the way, but found my way around, worked things out. But while I was in Hobart, I did get a chance to go see a few things, like, you know, Constitution Dock and some of the museums, the Maritime Museum and the markets, that sort of thing. That was fun. I also got to travel out of Hobart to the Typhoon. It's a forest area, and I did the skywalk out there, which is really cool for me, because I'm working on the top 10 list of tree canopy walks in Australia, as according to Australian Geographic. And so I've done 2 so far. I've walked them. I get my crutches out and go for a walk, which is really great. So we did that, and we went kayaking. May have, you know, accidentally capsized my kayak, but it was lots of fun. I got to see the ocean, the forest in a different way. to do another sort of SWD campaign like the Hobart one I went on. It's such an amazing time to be doing so much sailing in a row, meeting so many awesome people every day, getting to know other SWD members better. I've made some pretty cool friendships, and just the way that you can challenge and grow yourself. I didn't want to come back from Hobart, I was just enjoying it so much. If you get an opportunity in your calendar to do an SWD campaign, definitely go for it. I learned a lot. Sailing almost every day for 2 weeks was just wonderful. So the Northern campaign is coming up. If there are any people out there who can make a gap in their calendar to go do part of the Northern campaign, I definitely recommend it. It's lots of fun being able to help people and to be able to do that all day every day for, you know, days in a row. It's yeah, it's really great, and you also get to learn lots about sailing, and just meeting other people from SWD and hanging out together and making friends. So yeah, definitely give us a hand and sign up for the next campaigns that are coming up. You won't be disappointed, I promise.